Hi ducks, how are you? Hope you're well. So it is Pride Month, and we at Transpride Southampton have an event coming up on the 29th of June 2024, marching from the London Hotel in Oxford Street all the way up the road, up the High Street, above Bar, all the way up to Edmund Kell, where we will be holding the event, music, arts displays and stalls. And I'm going to do another video to really promote the event, and I'm hoping to do a couple of stuff with Mabel and Sam in the next couple of days on the build up to the event on the 29th, on the Saturday, this coming Saturday. But I have decided to do something, and I'm going to explain to you what it is, so bear with. I discussed it on the radio show on Spectrum on Voice FM, which goes out on a Saturday between 2 and 4 for the queer community in Southampton and around the world. And I talked about this hat. This hat. And what all this means. You obviously see there are the Trans Pride colours, and you will see in the cap band, if you can just make that out, is Sean Fay's book, The Transgender Issue. Now, why does it look like this? Why does it look like a pirate's hat? It's not a pirate's hat. And why is it designed like this? And what does it mean to me? Wow. This hat is a felt hat. It's of a 17th century design, and it's my soldier's hat when I served in the Sealed Knot, which is a reenactment organisation that commemorates and teaches living history from the 17th century during the tumultuous period of British history. We were individual countries then, apart from poor old Wales and Cornwall. And it was the wars all across the islands. And it kind of kicked off towards the end of the 1620s, and just got worse and worse and worse. Then the actual Civil War broke out in 1642 and lasted till about 1651, 1652. Then we had a period of being a republic, the Commonwealth, the Republic, and then Charles I, who was executed after the Civil Wars, kind of halfway through the Civil Wars, really, 2/3 of the way through the Civil Wars. When he was executed, his son Charles II, took on the mantle of leading the revolutionary cause. He tried to reclaim the throne of England and Scotland, but it didn't work, and so he was sent into exile, and Cromwell came to power, and we had the rule of the major generals in a very part of history that's not... It was a dictatorship. It was a republic, but it was a dictatorship. But what does this hat mean? So this is my dragoon hat. I was a dragoon in the Sealed Knot. What you do is you get on a horse, you ride onto the battlefield, jump off, fight, jump back on, ride off. You skirmish. You're the first contacts in any 17th century battle. We didn't do much riding on and off because there's not that many spare horses in the Sealed Knot. There's quite a few members of the Sealed Knot, but it's not like the American Civil War Society where you got 10, 20, 50, 60, 70,000 people. So this is my soldier's hat, and I wore it when I was a dragoon in Corbett's company. Now, in the 17th century, during this political period, this revolutionary period, to show your politics and what you were reading at the time, because the pamphleteers and what was kind of like would become newspapers were a thing in those days. What was going on in that period of the 17th century was for ordinary people and what we would refer to as the middle classes now. They had the revolution in pamphleting and leaflets and books and stuff like this, it was beginning to become more popular in the wider communities, well, the wider demographics. And it was kind of like the internet of its age at that time. It was like what happening with the internet. It was like social media. That's what it was then. You didn't scroll through a phone. You went to a stall, you went to a political revolutionary, you went to a radical, you went to a meeting, you went to a group session, whatever, or a religious setting, and you got a pamphlet. Now, the radicals that tended to be in the parliamentarian ranks once the Civil War had kicked off, would stick their pamphlets, predominantly political pamphlets, sometimes religious, but sometimes political, in their in their bands of their hats, like this, to show their politics, their allegiance and stuff like this. So the Levellers that we would think of nowadays as democratic socialists, they rose to power, came to abundance in the parliamentarian ranks, and a lot of their members would get Leveller leaflets and stick them in their hats, and they would go onto the battlefield like it, or they would go to the tavern like it. So I have my pamphlet in my hat, because to me this hat, and the fact that it's got these tassels on it. Now, Levellers wore sea green bands, this political group of people in the parliamentarian army. They wore sea green bands on their arms. Mine are the Trans Pride colours, and I wear them on my hat, because I used to have feathers in my hat and I liked it, it looked cool. This has Sean's book, the reason why this is on here is because, to me, it's a statement in the fact that it's a call to the community, the trans community and the queer community as a whole, for trans rights, for equality, for social justice. Not just for trans people and queer people, but all peoples, whatever your religion, your race, your creed, whatever. It's a rule, it's a call for, it's woke. And that's my politics, but Sean's book, I think, comes from a left-wing perspective, but it has no party affiliation. Now, at first I thought I was going to put the Socialist Party pamphlet in here, which talks of how the Socialist Party is going to deal with trans rights and queer culture, liberation, and laws and stuff like that. I decided against that because I thought, no, I'm not going to do that, because that's party affiliation. Sean's book is not party affiliation, but it does come from a left-wing perspective. So in the sense that I'm not publicising any political party and trying to throw it down your throat, I'm publicising a left perspective on issues that are important to me and many, many of my friends. The hat was a symbol of the soldiers that fought during that war, during the Civil War. They wore different sorts of hats. There was all sorts of different ones, but the felt hat for dragoons predominantly was kind of like the thing. And for my sins, I fought as a cavalier when I served in the Sealed Knot. If I rejoin the Sealed Knot now, I don't know who I'd fight for, because it's not clear. When you look at the Civil War from this perspective, it's not so clear cut to see a side to join that's purer than the other side. I mean, Parliament had its aspects that I relate to and I understand and I can get, but the rise of Cromwell and the rule of the Major Generals and the dictatorship that came after it is a bit, that sits uncomfortably with me. But I want to wear this hat as a political statement. This is why I've got it. I'm going to take it to all the Pride I've already started taking it to Pride events that I hold, and when I'm working for either Southampton Pride or Trans Pride Southampton, and I will be wearing this at Brighton Trans Pride as well. And it is my political statement, because I believe that we have a general election coming up, as you all know. So get out and vote if you can. If you can, you got ID and you're registered, get out and vote. We're entering a very tumultuous period. The next 30 years, I believe, is going to make or break this country for lots of different people living in it. And whatever the outcome of the general election, it's not going to be solved with just, say, Labour coming to power. There's going to be a lot of heartache. The world is in flux. It's kind of like in chaos. Things are getting a bit. And the last time this kind of happened that I can relate to in history wasn't just necessarily the build up to the Second World War, but that 30-year war period in Europe that conflicted in Europe for 30 years, involving Protestants against Catholics. It involved political ideologies, it involved just religion, of course. It spilled over and caused the civil wars in Europe, and it had a basis in the fact that there was climate change at that period. During that period of the 17th century is known as the Little Ice Age. We're going through a climate impact now with global temperature changes and weather changes and climate change. The parallels between those two periods to me are quite stark. So I've decided to wear this until I feel safe enough to be able to stop wearing it to Pride events. And if I do start doing anything more politically in just normal politics, outside of queer politics, I will wear it there as well. It's my statement of intent. I'm going to fight, and I'm going to do everything I possibly can, whether it's speaking at Pride events, these videos, organising on the streets with the two prides, get involved maybe a little bit more with the Socialist Party once the Pride season is over and I can concentrate on other things. This is my statement of intent, and I'm going to wear it when I do all those things, whether they be for politics in general or for queer politics. And Pride's a queer politics, no matter what anybody says. So I'm going to wear this. So if you see me, look out for this. If I haven't got it on me, tell me off. Because I'll have been gutted that I'd left it at home. Oh yeah, and that's a Celtic cross on the front. That's symbolic of my Celtic ancestry that runs, as far as we are now aware, into Cornwall. So I was saying Cornwall, Nosda, because it's dark here. And I will see you again soon, folks. Please like, share and subscribe. Bye.